She eats it real quick. But I just have been putting like minimal toppings on her food and with nothing on it. Now she No, just because I don't want her to get too used to like having yeah.
It'll happen anyways.
It's too late for that because one day I didn't have anything to put on it. And you better not walk away. Henry's going to come eat it. She's always like worried about Cat is infringing on her food, which obviously he's not.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Spotify.
She's a weird little dog. Hello.
Hello.
Core team is still here together, recording a bonus episode. I don't have a ton for the bonus, but since I feel like last time I like dominated it with things that I want to talk about. So do you have anything?
What did you talk about last time? Your health?
Probably, I guess, maybe, let's see. I talked about how Indiana ate the bird. I didn't get the job and my career woes.
Oh.
We talked about that for a long time, like how I was feeling like less.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
but
like,
you had originally talked about it, I think, with Mark. Like you had told the listeners, not initially with me. I feel like.
Yeah, about the daddy issue stuff. Yeah.
Anything I want to talk about? Nothing in particular. I mean, gosh, summer's hard. I thought my AC was going out the other day.
Oh, is it better?
Well, we had someone come out who came out same day, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
It's looking good. They did something and they're coming out on Monday to like
follow up.
And then we're going to do our roof the next weekend, whatever that means.
Or like paint it or something?
Yeah, I got up there. Wow.
It's like peeling?
Oh,
yeah. Huh.
In a whole year? Bad. So
Yeah,
like we're
like
adulting
have to, like,
this
feel
month.
it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you can do that yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, Michael's friend's going to help him. And I said,
good.
I'll help. And he's all, well, you don't need to. I'm all fine. It's fine.
I think Mark's been talking about doing his roof for like 2 years straight
Yeah,
up.
Michael's kicking himself for putting it off. But
he's put it off
whatever.
for so long. And then remember that he had that leak, like his roof caved in a little bit.
I imagine that's fixed now.
I mean, the leak, it's not leaking, but the hole is still there in the inside of the house. Yeah. It's funny because for somebody who's like very handy, could fix everything in his house, like his, you know how we all have, well,
Well, he can fix that. Why doesn't he?
well, right. He
Maybe
could
it's not
fix that.
leaking. So
it's not
what's
leaking,
the
but
point?
there's just like a hole.
Yeah, it looks ugly.
Yeah, it looks gross. And like his sink, you know, we have when he installed all of our sink or whatever we call it, faucet.
Faucet.
For some reason, his is like super hard water covered and like something in the, like he said, the battery died. So unless you turn it at the exact right angle, anyway, this way, right or left, it goes like, and it like
Oh, yeah,
sputters.
I heard that once before.
Yeah. Like, hasn't fixed it. So I don't know. Anyways. So the air wasn't, you didn't have to like replace the air. Thank goodness.
No.
Good.
But Dad was over the weekend before and was talking about how right now everyone's AC is going to shit, blah, blah, blah. You all, and he was talking about himself as well, should like, maybe you should just replace it before it dies, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because Michael texted him when, you know, I told you it was drippy. Next day, it was like going. And he texted Dad and he said, you were right. It shit out. And then Dad he's all typical John. He sent him a response that was like, well, you better, whoever you hire, you should get a second opinion and da 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 da. And then Michael got a friend of a friend to come out on that day, Monday.
Yeah.
And they checked it. It's all good. Just a little something.
Oh, good. Yeah, typical John response for sure. Yeah, I thought mine was crapping out too. And Mark cleaned the coils on the roof, and
Which that would be shitty, but it wouldn't mean
No, it's not,
$7,000
but
to $10,000. You
No,
might have
no.
to wait a few days.
well, yeah, I'd have to go. Stay with Mark, the landlord put me up in a hotel. No, I mean it's one of the very few benefits of renting is that anything happens, it's really not my problem.
Or it's not your financial problem.
Not my financial problem. That's what I mean. Yeah. I mean, and if it was like Atlanta, like when that tree fell through my house, like there was no one I could go stay with all my animals.
Yeah, but they
offered to put me up in a hotel.
Well,
I
yeah.
refused.
Oh.
Yeah, I stayed
Well,
in
you
the
just
house.
stayed
I just closed the bedroom door.
Okay, well that
Yeah.
makes sense
but
too.
But my air conditioning has gone out both summers that I've lived here prior to this, and like luckily I've had I could stay with Mark with all the animals. I could stay with you with the animals at Dad. You know what I mean? Like there's places to go, which makes it less of an inconvenience.
Well,
here.
also because I imagine this landlord wasn't going to offer to put you up in a hotel.
He did, but it was
Oh.
like, what do you think? Like $50 a night? And I was like, yeah, no. Like, where am I going to stay? A Miracle
But also
Mile?
you could sorry, Miracle Mile. Also, you couldn't tell him how many animals you have. So
Right, that's a
that's
problem.
also why a regular place wouldn't, or a low
Right,
grade place wouldn't work.
right. That's true. That's true. Well, I'm glad your AC is okay.
Yeah, I'm glad about it, I guess.
Yeah. Indiana. We got a really great Apple review, which I feel like it's been a really long time since we did.
Oh.
Just on Thursday. I mean, I don't know if it's great. It's great to me.
You just said it's really great.
I feel like it's great. So it's 5 stars, and I wish that I could like thank this person, but I'm going to read their name. It's HFSJDRKH. So it's just letters. But the title is "The Point of a Podcast," and he or she says, "People complain about all of the back and forth they do, but that's literally the point of a podcast. If you just want a straight story, read a book. The banter is part of a good podcast."
That's true. Yeah,
I like
that's a
that.
great point. Yeah, or listen to an audiobook.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, surprisingly, I don't think that either of us have had kind of that specific vantage point when because we've talked a million times about how people hate the banter and too much of an intro and blah, blah. But I never really thought about that. Like, that's true. Like often, and there's a lot of podcasts with no banter, but those are like documentary podcasts. This is not that. So anyways, without reading too much into it, I appreciate you, HFSJDRKH. We really like that.
We'd also like you to get a more
Recognition.
simplistic name so we can really shout you out.
Yeah. So Jenna and I just watched I almost said on TikTok, on Peacock, the TikTok star murders. I don't know. I just put it on randomly. It was about these 2 TikTok stars who were married with a child, and it's much more complex than how I'm about to tell it. But basically,
Also, is this like a
spoiler.
Yeah.
Oh, good point. Yes, spoiler alert. This is new. I think this just came out. So if you have not watched it and you think you might, fast forward for 30 seconds.
Maybe a minute 30.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've never explained anything in 30 seconds of my life. But a married TikTok couple. He was a rising TikTok star. They were both from Japan. They had a child together.
He was too.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was stationed in the military in
They
Japan.
met in Japan.
They met in Japan, yes.
He was an American citizen. That's
Right.
how he could bring her over
Right.
on the K1 visa, the
Right.
fiance visa.
That's right.
Which
Yes.
I know a lot about because I've been watching that other show,
Oh, what show?
The 90 Day Fiance. I've been watching that for years on and off. Yeah.
So there you go. So they met in Japan. He was stationed in, I'm not going to say the city right, so I'll just say Japan.
Okinawa.
Okinawa.
Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, is that how you say it? Okay.
I believe so.
They met. She came here to the United States with him. They lived in Virginia. He became very controlling, etc.
They had a child.
They had a child. And he kind of grew to fame on TikTok, and then also became very controlling and jealous and, abusive. And, you know, obviously from the name, we know someone gets murdered. But me and Jenna were like, well, it says murders. TikTok star murders. So, like, did he kill her and kill himself? What happens? I guess I don't have to say who the other person is that gets murdered. There are 2 people that get murdered. Yeah. She is one of them.
Yeah.
And
it's only a half spoiler.
Half spoiler, that's right. And it was just shocking to see, and we talked about this on the podcast, I know, like, so he could either get convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder, which means life in prison without the possibility of parole. Or his lawyer was arguing that, like, yes, he admitted to killing these people, but he was provoked and there were extenuating circumstances. So that would be voluntary manslaughter, which means he could be out in 6 years.
Crazy.
I mean, that's a huge difference for a very, like, for a murder that he committed and readily admitted it.
Also, who's not provoked in various ways every day? I'm not saying towards
agree.
Rage and thus murder, but like,
I'm provoked a bajillion times a day. I'm not going to go murder someone.
Well, and even beyond or before that is like,
or punch them or hit them.
Right. But if you're provoked into like internal rage and, well, no, I'm going to go too deep into this. So,
well, like, deal with it.
Right.
Like, work through it.
Or just don't murder.
There you go.
But you did leave out a part.
What?
He was an addict.
Oh, yes. Drugs were involved. That's true.
That's not an excuse. It's a factor.
It is a factor. You're absolutely correct. So I have a few more things. So I watched Scream this morning because
the original?
Because the rain, like, it rained a lot yesterday. It rained a lot last weekend. Really loving it. Wish it rained today, but it didn't. But when I went on my walk with Henry this morning, it was like very cloudy, and it felt like if I couldn't feel the temperature, it would feel like fall. It looked like it in my brain. I don't know. I've been really craving Halloween time lately. Excuse me. And I wrote down a line from it because I feel like it so many episodes that we've done lately, I'm always like, but what's the motive? And there's a line in the movie that Randy, who's played by Jamie, can't think of his last, Kennedy, says when they're in the movie store and he's talking to Stu, who's Matthew Lillard, and Skeet Ulrich, and Skeet Ulrich is like, one of them says, like, but what would be the motive? Or Randy says, what's the motive? And Skeet Ulrich says, it's the millennium. Motives are incidental. Like, motives,
what does that mean?
Like, don't matter. Like, you don't really need a motive. Which I thought was interesting because I feel like we've had episodes where there's really not a motive, right?
I don't know. Not the last one we did. I mean,
no, not the last one.
I'm not saying they're all justifiable in my mind, motives, but there's a connection, thus a motive.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I
not
also
just
don't
totally
think they're
random killing.
I also don't. Obviously, there doesn't have to be a motive.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't spend much time on TikTok anymore like I used to, but I opened up TikTok the other day and something that came up on my feed was this man who just murdered 2 women in Florida. His name is Wade Wilson. And he's, to me and to lots of other women, but I'm sure not many women, not all women, he's attractive. He's pretty attractive. Although he has really awful facial tattoos. But if you can, like, kind of see beyond the facial tattoos, there's something attractive about him. He also horrifically murdered 2 women for seemingly no reason.
Well, the TikTok murderer was attractive.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. You're right. So
do you think murderers are only ugly?
No, I don't.
Okay,
no.
Sorry,
I'm
jumping to conclusions about where you're going with this.
So I had never heard of this guy. This is all happening like within the past week. I think he got sentenced to death. He was sentenced to death, and they have video of him as he's being read his like he's going to be executed, and just like zero emotion, nothing. And And so they talk about the two women that he murdered within hours of each other, two totally unconnected, different women. One of the quotes that he like called his dad and said, like I murdered this one woman. I strangled her. But I was afraid she wasn't dead. So I just backed my car over her. I ran over her until she looked like spaghetti.
Gross.
Yeah. But so everybody's, I don't know, I guess because he's attractive, for whatever reason that people or trends or things take off on TikTok. I've seen 1,000 million videos on this guy, tons of them. And a lot of the videos are like thirst trap videos, like women who put like sexy music behind the footage of him in court and little like heart eyes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Or even the videos that are really like true crime focus of like somebody explaining it, you know, all the comments are women being like, oh, I'd let him murder me if I could sleep with him first, or things like that. Who cares? But then what I started seeing, because I searched on TikTok Wade Wilson, and so I'm just flipping through all these different types of videos, and there are countless videos of women being like, if you are one of the women who left a comment saying that you find Wade Wilson attractive.
Is that how they sound?
There is like they're very like offended, and they're like, there is something really wrong with you. This man is a disgusting, vicious murderer. Which, like, duh, of course. It like started to really irritate me to see all these, like, many videos of women being like so upset that other women are leaving comments saying he's hot. Who cares?
Well, okay. Saying he's hot is one thing. Saying if he'd let me bang him and then he can murder me. Also, I don't care about any of that.
Right.
It doesn't bother me any which way. I can see both sides, and I see both as
kind of like, who cares? Doesn't affect me.
No, I'm not saying none of it affects me, but
right.
I don't know. I can kind of see both of like, who cares? He's hot. It's like a one-off comment, like, I'd let him murder me.
Right.
And also some people,
or like, I wanted your babies.
Yeah, maybe
whatever.
they had like, so, I don't know. They're offended.
Yeah, I guess. So I can understand.
I just don't care.
I guess.
Sorry.
Maybe it's more of a personal thing that, like, I can understand being offended.
Yeah,
but
you didn't feel offended by the women saying like, he could murder me if he slept with me first.
No,
so
I don't feel offended by that. I can't imagine feeling so offended by that I would make a video professing how offended I am by it. Like, blows my mind. Like, we're on TikTok. Nothing is really that serious. Like, come on.
Sure. I agree. I I don't have that much to say about this because to me it's all.
It really, and maybe it's just because it was like morning. I'd had a bunch of coffee. I was out on my walk, and I'm like flipping through TikTok while I'm waiting to cross the street, and I was like,
but you could have equally gotten as jazzed up about people saying, "Oh, if he had effed me first, he could murder me."
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It does
personal opinion,
right? Yeah. I'm not saying it says something about you. It just
I guess I just can't believe that any of those women are like actually serious. And also, if they are, like, who cares? Why would you make a video like shaming them for saying that? Like, I saw videos of women who like actually screenshot the comments and the usernames and like put it up, and they're like, "This woman, this is ridiculous." And like,
but that could be said about anything on the internet.
I guess that's true.
Any Yelp reviews, people are taking time out of their lives, but also, let me back up, or let me play devil's cousin of like, you're the one reading them and now commenting on them. So yeah, you're not spending time to post them.
You're right.
But
I'm digging myself into a hole.
I'm not judging you at all.
You're totally right.
But all could be shit on.
Yeah,
equally.
it's just such a waste of breath for me to even be talking about it. But also, I feel like a waste of breath for these women.
I'm interested in hearing it because I'm
going to show you the videos and see what you think. Because his face, well, he has a swastika on his face. So like, again, I'm Jewish-ish. I feel like that should offend me. But like,
well, it should.
I don't care.
It doesn't offend you personally.
It doesn't.
It does. And also, you're maybe able to say like, yeah, he's still attractive.
Yeah.
Would you go date that guy?
God, no.
Okay. That's, I think, what matters. I can find, whatever murderer attractive.
Right.
In a photo.
Right. That's true. I'm interested to see what you think. I'll show you some of the
I can't
videos
wait.
after.
After?
We'll finish the bonus and then I'll show you.
Okay.
You can comment when we get on the episode.
Do you remember the real hot guy? I can't remember what he was arrested for, like 5, 6, 7 years ago. He looked a little bit like half black, half white.
With the blue eyes. Oh, totally. He became, I think he like dated an actress or became an actor.
I think he became a model. I don't know what he did, but
God, I can't remember his name. I do remember.
I don't
him.
think he murdered anyone.
That he like swept the internet. Yeah, for sure. It's just goes to show like people love beautiful people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, until they're in front of your face with a swastika on their face,
That's
and
true.
Going to prison, and then they're all, "Do you want to go on a date?"
No, I do not. I saw a few. Okay, I have like 2 other little things. I always try to save some news stories I find interesting. This was about Arizona last week with the monsoons. A woman was pulled from the Rio and died from last weekend's flash floods. It says flash floods and torrential rain swept across the city despite resuscitative efforts. Did I say that right? Resuscitative?
Mm-hmm. Resuscitation.
Yeah, resuscitative efforts. The woman was pronounced deceased.
Was she driving through something, or she was hiking, walking?
Waiting for more details at this point. But in a span of 90 minutes, Tucson Fire Department responded to over 25 monsoon calls. In an hour and a half, 25 people. 15 of those calls involved stranded drivers or those stuck in swift-moving water. Oh, including that of the woman pulled from the Rio.
That's exactly what I told you about, not on the podcast, but like where people don't. This isn't shocking to me. It happens every year. Every year. It'll shock people that don't know what a wash is or what the
right.
I never understood before I moved here. It happens every year. This year a little bit earlier, but it's nothing new.
It just feels like, don't go in. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. Don't shame the dead.
Fair enough, man. You've had some good one-liners that all could be the title to this bonus.
They're not one-liners. They're just, it's people. Yes, hindsight. Don't go
but you
through.
said don't shame the dead. Then earlier you said I'm gonna play devil's cousin.
Yeah, because it didn't feel like devil's advocate.
So this is a good news one. A brewery creates edible 6-pack rings that feed sea animals instead of killing them.
That's really cool.
It's really cool. Saltwater Brewery in Del Rey, which is in Florida, I believe. Florida or California? I think Florida has developed edible 6-pack rings that are made from byproducts of beer like barley and wheat, which make them safe for marine life to consume, and they're 100% biodegradable.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Doesn't that seem like so obvious?
Yeah, it
does. Why is not everybody doing that? Because it's more expensive, I bet.
I guess, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's the best story.
Yeah, such a good story. And then the last feel-good story I have is that a 105-year-old woman completed her master's degree at Stanford. Virginia Ginny Hislop earned her master's degree from Stanford Graduate School of Education 80 years after starting. She completed her coursework in the 1940s, but World War II interrupted her plans. She left to marry her boyfriend, who was called to serve, and then raised a family. Decades later, Stanford dropped its thesis requirement, I guess, and she graduated June 16th, 2024 at 105 years old.
That is a feel medium story for me. Because, I mean,
what are you really going to do at 105 with that?
Not even that, but like I heard also, I don't know, I can't speak to it, but like, of course, World War II, then she got married and had to raise a family. And
I think the shocking part is more that she has, first of all, lived to 105.
Yeah.
And then also has like the wherewithal to get her master's degree at 105.
It's awesome.
Like, I hope I can put my pants on if I live to 105.
I hope I don't.
I don't want to live to 105, but if I happen to, which I don't anticipate, I would like to be able to just like go to the bathroom on my own. So good for her. Wow, if I could take that face that you just made and make it like the
well,
the cover
if you live
for
to
this.
105, I'll be long dead, so you'll be putting on your pants alone.
I don't want to do that. That's it. That's all I got.
That's a real roundabout.
Yeah, there's
a whole amalgamation of stories.
Whole bunch of things. Oh, did I send you? No, I sent you the bunny video. I didn't send you the hawks that I keep seeing on my morning walk right by this one house. one day there was one, the next day there was one and the baby, and they scream. Oh my God, it's so cool. And Henry like is always stops and is like startled by the scream. And
I don't know
he
if I've
turns
ever
his-
seen a little baby hawk. Maybe just a head
I have
out.
a
I don't
video.
think I've seen.
I mean, not a baby, 'cause it was just like very small. So I'm assuming it was younger.
Young,
yeah.
like a adolescent.
And then, of course, I was like, what does it mean? And so I looked up like what seeing hawks repeatedly
Means you're in Tucson in the
can hold.
spring, early summer.
Fine.
Well, I just mean like look at all the birds around and the
Oh my
baby
God.
nests
I
or
know,
the
what's
nest.
going on? I'm obsessed with birds lately.
Well, I don't know what's going on with you, but this
Right.
is the time for birds.
Right. I know. That
Maybe
makes
you're
sense
just
to me.
noticing
I'm
them
having
now.
like a real, like I am really obsessed with all the birds.
Oh, you're the only one that can answer that.
I don't know. But if you happen to see a lot of hawks, especially repeatedly, it can hold significant spiritual meaning. They're seen as messengers from the spiritual realm. They symbolize intuition and higher perspective, and the presence of one hawk might suggest the need to focus and pay attention to what's happening around you. But encountering two hawks, it could either amplify this message or could indicate that more profound insight is coming your way. It might also suggest that you're being watched over and guided by a higher power. I like it all, so I'm taking that all to heart.
You read it kind of like you thought it was bullshit.
Did I? I didn't mean it like that. Like I read it when I read it to myself the first time. I was like, I like this. I'm choosing to believe
that's
this.
nice.
I think it's nice too. Anything else you would like to chat about before we wrap up bonus and move into episode?
No.
Okay.
Bye.
I was thinking, but I got nothing. So yeah, we'll say goodbye. Have a happy Monday when this comes out. Look at Cat is rubbing his head against his body.
He's licking. He's cleaning. He's taking
Oh,
a
he's
bath.
licking.
Yeah.
Oh, he's licking. Oh my God. I really saw his head is upside down just now. I need my eyes checked. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Death by Southwest is hosted by Jenna Schneider and Margot Carmichael.
Executive produced by Margot Carmichael.
Produced by Jenna Schneider.
Audio editing and sound design by Margot Carmichael.
Music by Soundstripe.
And a special thanks to Edward R. Murrow for letting us borrow his famous sign-off phrase, good night and good luck.